What is the law of the trespass offering? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Leviticus on walking through the Bible.
Honors of his word, the glory of his cross.
If you have a Bible with you, you can turn to Leviticus chapter 7. We're going to be reading from verses 1 to 10. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Leviticus chapter 7, beginning at verse 1. Likewise, this is the law of the trespass offering. It is most holy. In the place where they kill the burnt offering, they shall kill the trespass offering. And its blood he shall sprinkle all around on the altar. And he shall offer from it all its fat, the fat tail and the fat that covers the entrails, the 2 kidneys and the fat that is on them by the flanks, and the fatty lobe attached to the liver above the kidneys. He shall remove, and the priest shall burn them on the altar as an offering made by fire to the Lord. It is a trespass offering. Every male among the priests may eat it. It shall be eaten in a holy place. It is most holy. The trespass offering is like the sin offering. There is one law for them both. The priest who makes atonement with it shall have it. And the priest who offers anyone's burnt offering, that priest shall have for himself the skin of the burnt offering which he has offered. Also every grain offering that is baked in the oven, and all that is prepared in the covered pan or in a pan, shall be the priest's who offers it. Every grain offering, whether mixed with oil or dry, shall belong to all the sons of Aaron, to one as much as the other. In this section of Leviticus 6 and 7, we've had God providing more specific instructions on the sacrifices that he instituted. We've discussed the law of the burnt offering, which referred to the morning and evening sacrifices offered by the priests. We've discussed the law of the grain offering, which laid out not only the sacrifice itself, but what would happen to what was left over from the grain sacrifice, which was that it would become the priest to use for food. And then in the last episode, we had the law of the sin offering, which again, not only discussed the sacrifice, but what would happen to the parts of the animal not burned on the altar, which is that it would become the priest to use for food. Also among those instructions were commands concerning what would happen to the containers of the meat after the meat was eaten. If the container was made of earthenware, it would be broken into pieces, but if the container was made of brass, it would be scoured and rinsed with water. The reason had to do with holiness, with a used container being now unclean. The uncleanness, the liquid soaked up from the meat, could be cleansed from the brass container, but not from the earthenware container, which is why it was broken. We now come to the trespass offering. If you recall from chapters 5 and 6, the trespass offering is a lot like the sin offering, except this offering needed to be made when restitution was required to be paid. A 20% fine would be added to whatever was owed, along with the sacrifice that was required to be offered. It should be noted that the sin offering was not the same as the trespass offering, but was similar. When we studied this sacrifice the first time, God merely revealed that the sacrifice would be offered by the priest, but left out the details. Here in chapter 7, we get those details. The trespass offering would be killed in the place where the burnt offering was killed, so you can refer to chapter 1, episodes 2 and 3 for those details. The blood would be sprinkled all around the altar, this altar being the altar of burnt offering. It is interesting to see that there is a distinguishing of the sin offering and the trespass offering concerning the where the blood was placed. For the sin offering, some of the blood was sprinkled on the horns of the altar of burnt offering. This was not so for the trespass offering, showing us again that although these two sacrifices were similar, they were not the same. All of the fat of the animal would be offered on the altar, with the fat being all of the inward fat, just as discussed with the sacrifice of the peace offering and the sin offering. Since a ram, a male sheep, was offered, the fat tail was also included. Just as it was with the sin offering, the remaining parts of the animal not burned on the altar may be eaten. In general, all of the priests may eat of the sacrifice. However, God said that there would be one law for the trespass offering and the sin offering. This meant that the meat would be eaten by the priest who offered the sacrifice. We also find out that he would receive the skin of the animal as well. All of the other rules concerning the eating of these meats would be the same as for the sin sacrifice as well. This would have concerned where it was to be eaten and what would happen afterwards to the containers that contain the meat. We also learn that for the burnt offerings, the priest who offered the sacrifice was entitled to the skin of the animal, as was the grain offering that was cooked. However, the grain offerings that were offered with oil or dry would be all of the priests to share. To us, this might sound like legalism run amok, but this is God's law, so it needed to be followed. Today, some Christians are accused of legalism because they teach strict adherence to the laws of God as contained in the New Testament. They claim that God doesn't care about small details. He did here, and the Bible says that he does not change. If God revealed something to us, he revealed it to us for a reason, and therefore we need to follow it, whether we consider it big or whether we consider it small. With that, our time is up today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Leviticus chapter 7, verses 11 to 21, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.